Previously, Luo Feng realized that if Morosa devoured the origin of Purple Moon Ancestor's miniature universe, it would take around 100.000 years because Purple Moon Ancestor was a void space true god with a miniature universe larger than Luo Feng's, and Morosa was only a second-stage sector beast. Although Morosa was eager to begin, Luo Feng ordered him to remain hidden inside his miniature universe and await further instructions. Luo Feng decided to postpone dealing with Purple Moon Holy Land because the sector beast crisis was far more urgent. He silently vowed to destroy Purple Moon Holy Land after resolving the greater threat. Luo Feng understood that if he failed against the sector beasts, everything would be destroyed anyway, making Purple Moon Holy Land irrelevant. Even in the event of a great extermination, Purple Moon Holy Land would not survive because the sector beasts would inevitably devour such a massive Holy Land universe. Star Tower then performed a super long-distance teleportation and continued toward the world of Jin. After less than half a day, Luo Feng arrived near the world of Jin and waited for the miniature universe's membrane wall to turn white. Half a month later, the wall finally changed color, signaling that entry was possible. By this time, very few powerful beings still entered the world of Jin, as most treasures had already been claimed over countless eras. Luo Feng was the only entrant on this occasion. After entering the world of Jin, Luo Feng met the godly powered avatar he had left there. The avatar had collected a large number of treasures, mostly automaton-type treasures, which Luo Feng immediately stored away. With these treasures, he felt much more confident about the coming battle against the sector beasts. Using the military point ring, Luo Feng entered the world of military arms and requested an evaluation of his treasured Shi Wu wings. A golden figure examined the wings and revealed that they were originally known as the chaotic golden wings, a prized automaton-type treasure from the destroyed Wu nation, far away in Godly King Valley. The virtual consciousness of the Godly King of Jin noticed the evaluation and was surprised that Luo Feng possessed a treasure originating from the Wu nation rather than the Jin nation. He concluded that Luo Feng must have experienced extraordinary opportunities. The golden figure explained that the chaotic golden wings originally consisted of 6 pairs of wings, but Luo Feng currently possessed only 5 pairs. During its peak, the Wu nation was even stronger than the Jin nation and excelled at creating automaton-type treasures. Such treasures allowed vast armies to unleash terrifying power capable of threatening even holy-level beings. The chaotic golden wings were specifically created for eternal true gods and represented one of the greatest achievements of the ancient civilization. Each pair of wings had a unique function. The first pair enhanced movement by utilizing time and space. The second pair controlled time and space. The third pair enabled thought projection through void space. The fourth pair allowed the creation of a universe with a single thought. The fifth pair granted partial control over chaos and provided a portion of the power of a holy level existence. The sixth pair, which Luo Feng did not yet possess, was an incredibly powerful attack-oriented pair centered around the origin core. Regarded as the greatest accomplishment among the Wu nation's single-body automaton treasures, Luo Feng finally understood why Shi Wu wings had always been so powerful. The immense blade energy released from its origin came from transformations designed for eternal true gods. He also realized why comprehending the third stage had been so difficult when he was only a universe master. The wings had originally been designed for true gods. Learning that the fourth pair of wings could create a universe with a single thought excited Luo Feng, as he felt he was very close to fully activating that ability. He believed that his upcoming life and death battle against the sector beasts might allow him to achieve the necessary breakthrough. After learning the true origins and capabilities of the chaotic golden wings, Luo Feng summoned another treasure for evaluation, his most important treasure, the Star Tower. Luo Feng showed the Star Tower to the golden light being for inspection. Unlike Shi Wu Wing, the examination took more than 5 minutes and still revealed nothing. The golden light being finally admitted that the Star Tower was beyond its inspection range, explaining that it could only fully analyze treasures up to the eternal true god level. It estimated that Star Tower was at least a treasure used by holy level beings. At the same time, the godly king of Jin, observing from the top of Wu Qi Tower, was shocked. Despite possessing all the memories of the real godly king and knowing every supreme treasure of the ancient civilization, he had never seen anything like Star Tower. He concluded that it could only have been forged by a godly king who specialized in treasure crafting. Using immense resources and energy, the treasure was powerful enough to serve as a primary weapon for a godly king. The golden light being relayed the godly king's message to Luo Feng. The godly king confirmed that Star Tower was a top-tier godly king weapon, one of extraordinary value. Luo Feng was stunned, realizing that such a treasure could not possibly have been forged by his teacher. Sitting mountain guest, who had only been a true god. He became even more curious about the tower's origin. When Luo Feng asked whether the treasure was famous in the ancient civilization, the godly king admitted that he had never seen or heard of it. This left several possibilities. Star Tower might have appeared after the destruction of Jin country. It might have belonged to an ancient supreme being from a much earlier era. Or its creator had simply never revealed it to the world. Luo Feng became increasingly convinced that Sitting Mountain Guest possessed enormous secrets and had some grand objective connected to the mysteries of the universe ocean. Luo Feng then presented the Blood Shadow Blade for inspection. The godly king personally explained that it was a godly king-level weapon embryo made from precious materials. To become a true weapon, its owner had to imprint their own techniques into it. Such weapon embryos were commonly used by supreme beings because treasures on the level of Star Tower were almost impossible to create. When Luo Feng revealed the treasure's name, the godly king explained the true capabilities of Star Tower. It was a suppression-type treasure capable of trapping large numbers of enemies and even enslaving them permanently. Once enemies were imprisoned within it, they could be controlled without fear of betrayal. Although weaker enemies were easier to enslave, the tower's primary purpose was suppression. It could also be used directly in combat and was considered one of the most precious fighting treasures. Even 10 fully completed godly king swords would only equal the value of a single Star Tower. Hearing this, Luo Feng realized he had only scratched the surface of the tower's power. Its abilities to suppress and enslave enemies had remained largely inaccessible because he was still too weak. After obtaining many treasures from the world of Jin, Luo Feng left while keeping his divine power avatar there. Reflecting on Star Tower and Shi Wu Wang, he felt even more amazed by Star Tower's significance. He wondered once again about Sitting Mountain Guest's true goal and the purpose behind the countless eras of preparation. Luo Feng realized that if he hid inside Star Tower, even 10 million sector beasts attacking together would be unable to damage it. However, he also understood the danger of being trapped forever if the sector beasts pushed the tower into a deadly region such as the Three Extremes Abyss. Though Star Tower was indestructible, he still had to remain cautious. Fortunately, he had Morosa. Returning to his miniature universe, Luo Feng ordered Morosa to stay inside a spaceship and monitor the sector beast hive. He promised Morosa that he would capture many sector beasts and bring them back as food. Morosa was thrilled by the prospect. With Star Tower's suppression ability, even third-stage sector beasts could be captured and fed to Morosa, while fourth-stage sector beasts could also be devoured with Luo Feng's assistance. Luo Feng intended to nurture Morosa into the future king of all sector beasts. After making his preparations, Luo Feng departed his miniature universe. Driving Star Tower forward through the universe ocean, he headed directly toward the sector beast hive in the core region of Tilted Peak Sector. Luo Feng arrived at the Tilted Peak Sector in less than half a day and entered the Endless Water Domain. He traveled through the Space of Wings, a shortcut that led directly to the core region and the Land of Darkness. This was the same place where he had previously obtained the White Wings and the powerful Origin. Although he wished to acquire another Origin, he knew such treasures could only be obtained through extraordinary luck. The Origin was incredibly powerful, capable of helping Shi Wu Wings unleash billions of blade rays strong enough to destroy a true god weapon. Luo Feng had once tried to bring transformed godly power from the world of Jin into the outside universe by using General Harmonious Snow's automaton treasure. But the power instantly dispersed upon leaving the world of Jin. Reflecting on this, Luo Feng understood that the supreme universe law governed everything. The inhabitants of the world of Jin could never leave their miniature universe. Only lifeless objects such as weapons, treasures, blood, skin, and hair samples could be taken out. If the armies of the world of Jin had been able to leave, millions of true gods or even eternal true gods could have easily wiped out the sector beast nest. Luo Feng lamented that after the destruction of the Jin nation, all life within the world of Jin became permanently trapped. Piloting Star Tower, Luo Feng advanced rapidly through dangerous regions, teleporting whenever possible. He carefully avoided deadly areas such as Three Extreme Abyss and Icy Wind Devil Cave. Passing through lava fields and the endless whirlwind region, he used the whirlwinds to accelerate Star Tower even further. Eventually, he reached the 10.000 waves water region near the Land of Darkness. He knew that Zhenjia Emperor and Dragon Rock Ancestral God were hidden there. But he ignored them because the Sector Beast crisis was far more important. He decided that if time allowed in the future, he would eliminate them as well. At the border of the Land of Darkness, Luo Feng stopped and contacted Morosa. Inside Luo Feng's miniature universe, Morosa created a massive model of the Sector Beast nest, which had the shape of a giant sphere. Morosa marked the approximate locations of over 9.2 million Sector Beasts and explained that he could remotely sense every Sector Beast but could only provide rough coordinates due to the immense distances involved. Morosa also revealed that the Land of Darkness constantly rotated internally, making fixed landmarks unreliable. To keep the map accurate, Morosa would continuously update the positions of all Sector Beasts. Luo Feng ordered him to monitor them constantly. With the map prepared, Luo Feng entered the Land of Darkness. The environment was silent and filled with endless darkness. Since determining his position was difficult at first, this stage was extremely dangerous. He hoped that his invisible and formless ability would prevent the Sector Beasts from detecting him. To maximize concealment, Luo Feng left Star Tower and transformed himself into an ordinary floating rock. He advanced through repeated teleportation while monitoring spatial fluctuations. During his journey, one Sector Beast discovered the strange rock, inspected it, and crushed it into pieces. Seeing nothing unusual, the beast left. Luo Feng later reformed the rock and continued moving. By relying on invisible and formless, Luo Feng successfully avoided detection. He encountered 3 Sector Beasts, used their positions to estimate his own coordinates, and eventually reached a floating mountain range 1 trillion kilometers tall. After confirming his exact location, Luo Feng considered his next move. He realized that invisible and formless could hide him only until combat began. Once any Sector Beast discovered him, all Sector Beasts would quickly learn of his presence, forcing him to switch to another plan. Since he could only launch one surprise attack before being exposed, Luo Feng decided to target the strongest Sector Beast in the entire nest. Morosa had identified the 100 most powerful Sector Beasts, and Luo Feng chose the strongest among them, Betty, as his first assassination target. Luo Feng followed his original plan and headed towards Sector Beast Betty's location. In the Land of Darkness, Betty, a pinnacle level 4 Sector Beast, relentlessly hunted other Sector Beasts. While chasing Ka Chong, a level 3 Sector Beast, Ka Chong criticized Betty for wasting time hunting weaker beasts instead of challenging stronger rivals like Mo He and Chi Ya, warning that they might reach level 5 first and eventually kill him. Betty ignored the warning, insisting that he had always been the strongest and would remain so through constant evolution. During the pursuit, Ka Chong split into 99 bodies to escape, but Betty used the level 4 ability Sector Light Passageway to bind all the fragments. Betty also divided into 99 bodies and attacked each fragment simultaneously. The two beasts then engaged in a brutal close-range battle. With superior strength and abilities, Betty overwhelmed Ka Chong, pierced through its chest, destroyed its sector, and finally devoured the entire beast despite Ka Chong's final warning that Betty's strategy would lead to his death. Afterward, Betty continued hunting. Half a month later, it was chasing another Sector Beast and believed that devouring it would allow it to reach level 5 soon. Meanwhile, Luo Feng was frustrated because Betty constantly changed locations while hunting. Morosa, residing in Luo Feng's miniature universe, informed him that after learning Morosa had been enslaved by Luo Feng, the Sector Beasts had become much more aggressive in their evolution efforts. Instead of hunting occasionally, they now hunted constantly. Betty in particular was moving non-stop while pursuing prey. Because countless Sector Beasts inhabited the hive, large-scale movement and conflicts among them created many opportunities for Betty to feed and grow stronger. Morosa carefully tracked Betty's movements and reported them to Luo Feng. Knowing that Betty might reach level 5 at any moment, Luo Feng could not afford to wait. He disguised himself as a floating rock and teleported through the Land of Darkness in pursuit. Although Luo Feng could teleport farther than Betty, he had to avoid detection by other Sector Beasts. forcing him to take numerous detours and slowing his progress. For 3 months, Morosa monitored all sector beast positions. Whenever Betty reached another beast, the corresponding light marker vanished, indicating another successful kill and consumption. 3 months after Luo Feng entered the Land of Darkness, Betty finally stopped moving and sat atop a strange mountain floating in space. Dark energy from the Land of Darkness gathered around it, forming an enormous black mist that pulsed like a giant heart. Betty began absorbing the energy and undergoing a breakthrough. Far away, Luo Feng noticed that Betty had stopped. Excited, he immediately rushed toward the location, calculating that despite the distance and required detours, he could arrive within half a day. As the breakthrough continued, the black mist compressed into Betty's body. Bloody light surrounded it, causing space and time to tremble. Its body grew larger, and terrifying destructive ripples spread outward. After about an hour, the transformation completed. Bloody thread-like engravings appeared across Betty's dark skin, radiating overwhelming power. Betty opened its eyes and realized it had finally reached level 5. Relieved, it reflected on the risks it had taken since learning of Morosa's enslavement. It had hunted continuously without rest, knowing that if other powerful sector beasts reached level 5 first, it would be in grave danger. Now, however, it possessed an absolute advantage over all level 4 sector beasts, including Mo He and Qi Ya, confident that none of the other sector beasts could challenge it anymore. Betty immediately set out to hunt its strongest rivals. Since its teleportation distance remained unchanged from level 4, it believed that no one would realize it had already advanced to level 5. At the same time, Luo Feng, still disguised as a floating rock, detected that Betty had begun moving again. Realizing he was now extremely close, Luo Feng concluded that he could catch Betty within 5 minutes and accelerated toward it at full speed. Luo Feng approached Betty and transformed from a rock back into his silver-armored human form with 5 shining wings. Determined to eliminate the strongest sector beast, he believed killing Betty would significantly delay the birth of a level 6 sector beast and buy valuable time for the races of Universe Ocean. After more than 100 teleportations, Luo Feng detected a faint teleportation ripple, rushed toward it, and sealed the surrounding space to prevent escape through teleportation. Meanwhile, Betty, having recently advanced to level 5, was confidently preparing to deal with other level 4 sector beasts, when he sensed Luo Feng approaching and the surrounding space becoming sealed. He quickly deduced that only Luo Feng, through Morosa's information, could have located him inside the Land of Darkness. The two finally met face to face. Betty remained calm and confident despite knowing Luo Feng's reputation. Luo Feng, noticing Betty's unusual composure, became more cautious because Morosa had informed all sector beasts that level 4 sector beasts were no match for him. When Betty revealed his intention to kill Luo Feng immediately attacked. He activated the first 3 volumes of Duan Mie, fully unleashed Shi Wu Wings, and deployed single thought void space, covering several square light years and suppressing the surrounding area. However, Betty laughed and activated his sector light domain. Its power rapidly overwhelmed Luo Feng's single thought void space, forcing it to retreat. Luo Feng quickly realized that such strength could only belong to a level 5 sector beast. Betty confirmed that he had indeed reached level 5 and mocked Luo Feng for challenging him. In response, Luo Feng summoned the Pearl of the Golden Ocean, a machine-type domain treasure from the world of Jin, powered by Luo Feng's burning divine power. It transformed into endless golden waves that combined with single-thought void space, suppressing Betty's sector light domain and forcing it to shrink. The Pearl of the Golden Ocean was a true god of void space-level treasure that ordinary true gods could not easily use. Luo Feng's understanding of chaos evolution allowed him to activate it, making it the strongest machine-type treasure currently available to him. Luo Feng reflected that single-thought void space, derived from the 3rd level of Shi Wu Wings, was relatively simple and weaker because Shi Wu Wings lacked an origin. The 4th level, establish a universe with a single thought, was far more powerful but remained beyond his comprehension, even under the combined pressure of the Golden Ocean and void space. Betty remained calm. His sector light domain contracted into a thin but incredibly dense defensive layer surrounding his body. Betty mocked Luo Feng for relying on treasures, noting that he had only enslaved Morosa through the combined powers of Star Tower and other valuables. He then launched countless black threads that instantly wrapped around Luo Feng. trapping him inside a black cocoon. Betty explained that level 5 sector beasts possessed vastly superior power compared to level 4 sector beasts. Instead of directly fighting, he intended to consume Luo Feng's divine power until he died. Luo Feng made no attempt to escape. Instead, he burned his divine power and directly clashed with the cocoon's energy. While he could have converted his divine power into sector beast energy to avoid consumption, he chose not to. According to Morosa, a level 5 sector beast possessed divine power comparable to a true god with a body 100 million kilometers tall. However, Luo Feng knew that Betty's total energy reserves were still less than 1/trillionth of his own. Luo Feng deliberately maintained a controlled level of godly power consumption while trapped inside Betty's black mist cocoon, pretending to struggle desperately in order to deceive Betty. Betty, confident as the strongest 5th stage sector beast, believed Luo Feng would eventually run out of godly power while it continued devouring his energy. However, Luo Feng calculated that although Betty was absorbing his power, the absorbed energy required time to transform, causing Betty's own reserves to be depleted as well. As the battle continued, Betty became alarmed when Luo Feng remained alive despite the enormous energy drain. Unaware that Luo Feng possessed a limitless divine body through the 3rd level of the godly body path, Betty sensed something was wrong and decided to stop the cocoon technique. The cocoon dissolved, revealing Luo Feng in silver armor with 5 pairs of wings. Luo Feng admitted that his goal had been to consume roughly half of Betty's power through this prolonged struggle. Realizing it had nearly fallen for a trap, Betty abandoned further schemes and chose direct combat, activating blood-colored secret engravings and burning its power. Betty unleashed its strength and charged at Luo Feng with overwhelming speed. Luo Feng responded by fully activating the 2nd stage of wuxia God, dramatically increasing his power. Betty then executed a powerful technique called reincarnation passageway, creating 2 intertwined whirlpool tunnels that generated countless reflected worlds and contained the profundity of destruction origin. Facing this attack, Luo Feng unleashed annihilation of space with the blood ghost blade. Endless spatial ripples condensed into a vast void that annihilated everything in its path. The reflected worlds generated by reincarnation passageway were continuously destroyed until the entire technique collapsed. Realizing it had been pushed into a disadvantage, Betty immediately chose to flee. Although it still possessed its ultimate technique, destruction, it hesitated to use it because the energy cost was extremely high and it had only recently reached the 5th stage. Betty believed it could grow much stronger in the future and kill Luo Feng later. Whereas Luo Feng had likely reached his cultivation limit as a true god. As Betty escaped, Luo Feng used endless golden ocean and single-thought void space to suppress it. He also deployed Star Tower, whose devouring power failed to stop Betty due to its blood-burning enhancement. Luo Feng then summoned 1,000 strands of vines, a powerful restraining treasure, combined with endless golden ocean and single-thought void space. The 3 treasures successfully trapped Betty inside a sealed domain. Betty struggled fiercely, repeatedly using reincarnation passageway and launching countless attacks against the vines. But the restraints proved too strong. Realizing there was no possibility of escape and that Luo Feng intended to kill it, Betty became enraged. With no other option remaining, it prepared to unleash its strongest and most destructive technique, destruction.